Okay, so we're here at Darley Dale Cricket Club. It's the 5th of October 2017, and we're here to hear about the history of Darley Dale Cricket Club, and also, in this session, the current and the present and the future. So again, I've got three distinguished members of the club to talk about how they see the 21st century. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, starting with Stuart here.
Stuart Rudkin. I'm Stuart Rudkin. I'm the junior coordinator.
Thank you, Stuart.
Andy Topley, club chairman.
Jim Horton, committee member.
Thank you, gents. So we're going to talk about the 21st century. Perhaps I'd like to start off talking about youth, because that's the future. So perhaps you could tell us a bit about your role, Stuart.
Well, my role, I joined the club along with my son, or rather my son joined the club before I did, in a sweep round of trying to get juniors to breathe new life into the club. 10 years ago now. Started off as a dad sitting out the front, and gradually got sucked into things before being offered this this role, which I've been in now for about 8 years, I think.
Right. And how do you feel it's going in terms of getting young people interested?
I think it's going very, very well. From the days before I joined, my predecessor in terms of getting the junior section going again, Dave Briggs, tells tales of turning up at matches with 4 players and dragging whoever he could to make up the numbers.
Yeah.
We were involved. My son was playing down at the local rugby club, and he turned up at the rugby club one day looking for boys, basically, and came in from that. So from those days, last season we had over 70 juniors playing either quick cricket or hardball cricket. And over 50 All-Stars cricketers, which I'm sure there'll be more later.
Yeah, indeed. Andy, turn to you. I mean, the 21st century, you've been involved in the 20th century as well, as we heard in other films. So
yeah, I think it's worth going back a stage really to perhaps the turn of the century, when the club had actually sunk to a very worrying level, in that we got to only one team. We lost our second team, and for a time we might have withdrawn from the league. The place is looking very sorry, very sad. This beautiful ground, although despite Bob's best efforts, machinery was getting broken and not repaired. And I suppose we had to do something about it. And for me, looking back on those last 10 or so years, I think one of the biggest catalysts was when we decided to go for Club Mark. Because it set us a standard for a whole series of activities, whether it be junior cricket, and Stuart's done a brilliant job, but it was Jim who really kicked off the Club Mark bandwagon, and it was so important, wasn't it?
It was, wasn't it? Yes, yeah. We'd done it when I was at Worksworth. We'd done the Club Mark exercise, and I joined here again after being here in the 80s. In 2010, I think it was, and we thought that was one of the things we thought we ought to do. We ought to push forward on that. And which we got it for, I don't know, a couple of years later, I think.
2011.
2011.
2011, yeah.
So that really encouraged us to get on our toes on, the club needed more finance, it needed to improve its facilities. We'd already started the resurgence of the junior sides, because we firmly believe that we're very much a community-based club, and our future is in youngsters, really. So we have put a lot of time, effort and resources into that. As I was saying earlier, we've never had any professionals, and I can't see us ever having any. We've seen the problems that clubs have had in paying many people, and when that source of finance reduces, then the club falls on its face. So we wanted to get into a position where we were sustainable, increasing our income and improving our facilities. And after Club Mark, it all tended to coalesce around the 150th anniversary in 2013, and the target we set ourselves was to extend the pavilion and renovate the old pavilion, and that resulted in £120,000 investment, 60,000 supported by a grant from the Sport England, from whom Richard is our sort of grant getter in chief these days, and a loan from the England and Wales Cricket Trust, and you know, I'm glad to say that loan will be paid off within a year. But
That's brilliant.
over that time, what we've seen is, as I said, a huge increase in juniors playing cricket. We now field 3 senior teams, and we thought that having a 3rd team was really important, where we could get some of the old fogies playing again, but also use it as a method of bringing in the younger players. And what we've seen is a good batch of youngsters each year now progressing through the teams and breaking into the first team, which is fantastic. And numbers, we're really surprised with all-stars this year, when we didn't quite know how many we'd get, and we ended up with 53 on the first day, which is a scary problem to have. But you know, I'd rather have problems like that than not being able to put sides out. But what the club is now is a very happy place. It's very sustainable. We rely on the bar a great deal, and we try and keep the spirit of cricket. That's what it's all about. It's about getting as many youngsters playing, but we also encourage you know, pub cricket, recreational cricket. We play 75 league matches on this ground each year.
That's a lot.
There's hardly a day goes by in the summer when the ground isn't being used. So it feels a very good place to be.
It does.
And we started re-engaging with the Derbyshire Cricket Board, didn't we?
We did, yes, but because of the club market, I suppose, to an extent, but we're quite close to Mick Glenn and crew these days. We get on very well with them, and it's been a good.
Well, it's resulted, I mean, Stuart here sitting on my left, well, first of all, we were DCB Club of the Year in 2013. Stuart, you were Community Coach of the Year. We've had Bob and Jim as Lifetime Achievement Awards, Bob as Groundsman of the Year, and what else we've seen is a lot of us who've retired, we've actually come back doing things. And
that's brilliant.
You know, there's Jim, there's Charlie Cresswell, we've got a great ground team now. It's not just Bob on his own, it's Bob and Charlie and Simon and Craig. And that's what we rely on. It's the enthusiasm. People only volunteer because they love doing something.
Absolutely right.
And we're very, very fortunate.
Yeah, it's fascinating, the journey you described, because you know, you were saying earlier about this club being on its knees, and here we are, 2017, describing a very different sort of situation. So that's really a big turnaround, all on volunteers and getting the right sort of blend of fundraising. That's a big achievement.
Fundraising. I mean, when you think that the subscriptions, I think, are £50 per annum. Well, I don't know how many playing members are, 40, 35, 40?
I think we've got about 60 registered players.
60, well, that's 3,000 quid, isn't it?
Yeah.
But with insurance alone, is about 18,000, 1,800.
Yeah.
And all the other costs, and the ground, the mile, all that.
It's interesting, we put the wicket to bed last week, and the cost of tining and seed and loam was the best part of £2,000.
Gosh, and puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
You know, the important thing is to keep the subs low, so that encourage people to play. And Jim has been brilliant on vice president numbers who have increased, and sponsorship. I mean, you want to say something about vice presidents?
Well, we have about 60-something vice presidents who voluntarily contribute every year, which is wonderful.
That is brilliant.
A lot of them come down and watch. We have a vice president's day every year on a Sunday, which we have a super lunch put on by one of the players' mothers, which is absolutely beautiful, isn't it? It's a lovely day. And
sounds really good.
We're hoping next year we might even get an MCC fixture, because one of the players organises a MCC team. So,
be brilliant.
It's very good.
It's interesting, somebody who is new to the club. I've been here 10 years, unlike most of the people that you see. That's right. And it was very, very strange to start with, feeling almost an outsider. You know, it's very apparent very early on about the history of the club. and you know, it's in living form around you, and it's a little bit odd to start with, but it's very welcoming. The whole club's very welcoming, and that's a theme that goes through the entire junior section that I've been involved. I mean, 2010 was the first time this incarnation of the youth section actually won a trophy. We've won 16 since then at various age groups, albeit, you know, one or two age groups tend to be stronger than the rest around. We've had 39 juniors now come through and play senior cricket alongside some of the people. Over the past 3 years, the 13's been running. We've had 3 girls play representative cricket for Derbyshire.
Excellent.
Only 2 boys. So that's an interesting, perhaps a sign of the times.
Yeah.
This year, the Derbyshire Dales district team, we had 12 players play for the under-13s and under-15s, and we had both captains. You know, the development that's gone through in my time here has been you know, really phenomenal.
Yeah.
With where we're going, like I say, culminating with the All-Stars. That first session stood out there and wondering whether we should get started, but cars were still arriving, and at one point I was trying to introduce myself to the new mums and dads, the kids. Right, let's get going. And I turned round, and literally there were people coming from 3 sides of the ground, still coming. But we had a great time doing it. These gentlemen helped out as well on a few occasions, and it's brilliant to see, you know, 5, 6, 7-year-olds, the enthusiasm that they do. You actually, it's hard work for an hour, but actually you float for the rest of the day on the side of it. And we just want to keep on developing the guys.
Yeah, that's right. We've got a good series of templates now, and we think we know what we're doing. The finances are good, but what we do is most important to us. Two important things for me, anyway, personally. This is a great community club. It's part and parcel of this community, and we intend to keep it that way. And it's all about introducing people to play cricket and have fun. And if we're achieving that, we'd like to play in higher standard, and I'm sure we will over the next few years. But what it comes down to in the end is about enjoyment, and you know, just inculcating the special values that you see in cricket. And some of the things we do now, very early days with women and girls cricket, very encouraging. We want to see that grow over the next few years. And
yes, that was part of the This Girl Can exercise.
Yeah.
It'd been launched by ECP, and I think Derbyshire had adapted it to this Derbyshire Girl Can. And we started off with softball cricket, and
we were nominated by Derbyshire as one of 5 clubs, I believe, in the county to be part of the Women's World Cup Legacy programme. So we're currently running an indoor session for girls and women.
That's great.
Of all ages, you know, run by Jim's daughter Charlotte, and everybody that comes along to that seems to really enjoy themselves. And it's something I know from building on the back of the All-Stars as well. You know, 40% of the children that came along were actually girls.
Girls, that's brilliant.
And the enthusiasm that they show is up there with the most enthusiastic boys, by and large. Some of them can hit it a long way as well. So it will only improve.
Yeah, I'm sure. Just thinking about what you were saying, a really important point, Andy, about, you know, the club is part of the community, and we've heard in previous films how the club, stretching way back to 150 years, is very much a part of the community. So you're continuing that tradition, which I think for me sounds really important for this particular area. So do you think you're providing some kind of special outlet, really? Because, you know, I'm making assumptions here that there's not much else for young people to go to. So, you know, you're actually doing you know, you can say a social service, if you like, for the area.
I think that there's so much for kids to do nowadays that.
Not in terms of choice.
In terms of the choice that they've got, that actually it can be quite hard. But the way we work to trying to develop the junior section is to get into the community. So I go around to the schools every year. I talk to the head teachers. I talk to the PE coordinators. What do you want? How can we help you? Try and act as a bridge between the schools and the county board in terms of delivering cricket through Chance to Shine, because the teachers love it, because it's more accessible to everybody in the school. One of the things that surprised me over the 10 years I've been involved is the number of youngsters that come to play cricket. His parents say to me, little Johnny, little Susie, they don't do sport. I can't get them out of the bedroom, can't get them off their Xbox or whatever. But they try cricket at school. Oh, Mum, can I go and play cricket? Yes, a lot of them are not naturally gifted athletes at all, but they come to cricket and they stick at it. And it surprises me sometimes that lads, girls with 2 left feet, can't throw a ball and all the rest of it. They are some of the most enthusiastic youngsters that come along. So it really is across the line. You get noticed walking down the street as well. These little kids start shouting at you. One of the great things about All Stars is these shirts they have with their names on.
Oh, yeah.
When I see them in the street, in the civvies, I have no idea who I'm talking to most of the time. But there's people shout at me from across the street.
That's really good.
And it is great. The schools have taken it further. I mean, South Darley use the club as their playing field because they don't have one. There was an event down here that they hosted for several local schools. Which I think the Bishop of Derby actually came to give an address. It was something tied up with that side of things, and it is it's part of the community.
I suppose it is part of the community, but what we want to try and ensure is that Jim wrote the history of the club for the 150th anniversary, which is obviously a great read. But reading that book for me was realising that we had got a great history and we wanted to continue it.
There's not many clubs could produce such a very large volume, for over that period of time, which I think is a big achievement.
Yeah, but we've got a great set of volunteers in it. People like Bob and John Wright and that who've been here, supporting the club for decades and decades. But more and more parents are helping out. Barbecues. The good thing about All Stars is that the parents do get involved from day one. And we've got a fantastic committee and a fantastic set of volunteers.
Sounds brilliant. So as a last point, you used the word, you did, Stuart, about the World Cup legacy and so on, but the legacy that you're leaving to the community of Darley Dale seems to be really important. So just sort of thinking forward, you're in a good place, a better place certainly in terms of the recruitment of young people in going into the teams and so on. Do you see yourselves in any other sort of capacity? Do you want to stay like this? Any other big plans?
No immediate big plans. The first thing is to clear the debt, which we'll clear the debt in a year's time, and then there should be a fair amount of headroom to do lots of other things each year. For me, we've got to keep going forward. We can't stand still. We've got to keep trying and keep it. And I'm particularly aware that we only succeed because we have good volunteers.
Absolutely.
And it's encouraging those volunteers and keeping their enthusiasm going. And not getting too complacent about it.
Gentlemen, that's fascinating. It's an object lesson of how to rescue a club, but in a really positive way, and it's fascinating to hear that. So long may it continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you.